fix it. If you don't, then I can't fix it. It's just, it's like magic. It's like magic. Aurora as well coming in with the 4-month resub. Thank you so much for the 4 months. Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Let's get this started, guys. I do appreciate that the overlay, the UI is going to be incorrect here for the first game of the day. It'll be fixed as soon as we go into game number 2. So, sort of fingers crossed that this isn't a long one. If it is, then, well, I'm just going to have to buckle up and deal with it. But, to the top right hand side, our purple Protoss player is Trap. And he's going up against the red Zerg down to the bottom left hand side, Leenock. It's a little bit of PvZ today. There is obviously as well the potential that Wi-Fi decides to go a little bit haywire. I'm casting from an Airbnb, so if the stream goes off for like a minute, it's probably only going to be a minute because that's what happened the other day. I think in like a 4-hour stream we had like one little hiccup, so that's not all too bad. It's better than having no stream at all, obviously, so just keep that in mind. And if it does happen, it'd be great if you guys could spam in the chat and tell everyone that we're probably going to be back in a minute or so, or something along those lines. So game number 1, best of 3s all the way through today, best of 5 final. Quite a few rounds, honestly. I mean, we've got like, this is like round of 64, 32, so quite a lot of games to enjoy. Obviously, we don't have the usual pleasure that I kind of usually do, which is to kind of join a second game at the same time on the laptop, which is usually quite funny in Country Cup. But what I am going to try and do is get some replays from the other casters after this. Not to cast today, but to cast at a later point, because as always I think these matches are very good, and there's so many of the good matches happening at the same time. It's a shame that not all of them get to make it on stream. There's opening from Leenock's pretty standard, hatch gas pool, getting started. I mean, the 8-lings on the way up. 8-lings just to help deal with that adept. I mean, it's not too crazy or anything. Better to make Zerglings now than to let like 2 adepts show up and kill 4 or 5 drones, then have the lings made and kill them, because then you've already lost 4 or 5 drones, right? So this first step just going to get pushed back, and other than that, well, the Phoenix on the way up here from Trap. So Phoenix into what though? An Oracle? Yes. So one Oracle for now. So we'll see a lot of different ways of approaching the game. Stargate opens that you can see double Oracle straight away, single Phoenix and no Oracles even. Sometimes just the Oracle, but that's a bit more weird, because you may as well get something to push away these double bullets. But we've been seeing some bits and pieces, and I mean the Phoenix Oracle is one of the more standard ones, and it just allows you to go very quickly and attack. But Robo to begin with, no sign of a Twilight Council for now. We'll keep our eyes out for that, because generally the Robo and the Twilight should be coming down at a similar timing to allow for that very typical kind of Temple Archives timing for the Archons and all the rest of it. Splat comes up in the main base here from Leenock. We have a Spore Core or 2 coming down as well, just preparations. And there is that Twilight Council in the main. Again, for now, Twilight probably mostly here to kind of make up that Templar Archives. And also maybe to start up the charge upgrade too, especially if the Robo Spares you're not expecting something crazy like Blades or anything. Just using this Oracle is just going to be turned away by the Spore Core, and the Phoenix going to be exiting with it as well. Now, feelings will go across the map. It's that sort of timing where I guess the 3rd Nexus is usually about to be taken down, or about to be put down here by the Protoss, so it's a good time to come across. We see the extra gateways being added on, so that'll take us up to 4 gates in total, ready for the 4 High Templar to warp in, and hence the coming 2 Archons that'll be in this warp prism to harass, keep the Zerg player pinned back, and just to keep the Zerg player busy in general for the next few minutes of this game. And again, charge as well from the Protoss. Everything we expect this to be in terms of just setting up into a nice standard game. We'll see how many gates it goes up to. Sometimes we'll see the Protoss players going up to like 6 gateways before they take a 3rd Nexus. 4 gates is also very viable. It just means the Nexus comes down that little bit sooner. You don't have as much pressure going on. You know, you can't go for like massive 4 P's and Zealots behind the Archons. But for now, the 4 gates will do the job, and we do just see from our Zerg roll, first of all, these Lings are going to try and run by these Adepts, tucked away between the pylon and the Nexus, so they're going to stay alive. And the Oracle's here as well, so the Lings can't do much. In fact, the Lings might want to go back home and try and capture these Archons or something, help push them back. Hydra's on the way up. I was just trying to comment on the Zerg composition. It is just Ling Bane Hydra for the moment. No upgrades though, so intrigued to see where that takes us. We're currently sat on 50 workers, and that's about to be 55, so we've got a good combination, or good composition of 3 bases, or good saturation of 3 bases here. 4th base, not yet taken, and we'll see if that is something that we can still do in the next few moments. So the Archons get into play, the Lings come in and surround, the Hydra's try to chase, but without Hydra Suite here, this is a little bit difficult to really kind of keep in range of the Warp Prism, and that's what makes this so powerful nowadays. And I guess it's kind of something that we've seen kind of develop since the Hydra kind of upgrade nerf where they got split back into 2 upgrades, which is that because you have to wait for speed to finish, and you usually prioritize range. I mean, just the fact you have to wait for either of those upgrades to finish just means that the Archons obviously can kind of stay alive in the Warp Prism for a very long time. And so Trap here, going to push back in towards the 3rd base, and well, Wings, Veins, Hydras, then we coming on forwards. I mean, there's Zealot or 2 again, Micro here as well. Good pickups on the Archons so far. He just gets that last one. Oh my god, that was what, like 1-2 hit points? I think it's like 1 or 2 hit points, and it's really, what is it in the end? Yeah, 2 health. Wow, that Archon really couldn't have gotten away much lower health at all, could he? So did you see the Temple Archives on the way up here from Trap? So it's, I say on the way up, sorry, I mean it's Research and Storm. What other uses the Temple Archives really have? Well, I guess the Archons. Nice catch on the Observer, actually, not something you see all the time. Leenock just with the Overseer there coming through and helping him to see that Observer. And we do see Leenock with a +1 melee upgrade coming in the back of the main base, so +1 melee coming through, a 4th hatchery coming down. And we do see the Warp Prism continue to come along as well. Just dropping off another couple of Archons here and maybe thinking about just doing what he can. Again, I mean, these Archons are regenerating shields, so he's actually still pretty healthy with them, even though one of them looks almost dead. And we do see Hydra's there though. Push it back. Again, not really much gained. I guess it slows down proceeding forwards in this sort of direction or anything, which is still nice. Things on the way up, and as the Hydra upgrades finish, well, Leenock hasn't really had a chance to do much with his army yet, but now he has both his Hydra upgrades, maybe he can get a bit more aggressive. This is my personal issue with Lingbane Hydra at the moment, and I think it's kind of the issue in general, is because it's 2 upgrades, you just can't be as aggressive with the composition as you used to be, and that means that you're not able to slow the Protoss player down throughout the game, which is what you're usually doing, and that was a big part of why Lingbane Hydra is actually viable. Right now you just see straight up a very single push from Trap forwards, Zealots, Archons, High Templar and Immortals, all of them just pushing in, and honestly that looked scary for a moment or two. He does back away, which I can appreciate as well. He warps in a few Zealots for the Prism. No need to commit right now because he hasn't lost any of his tech units, and the fact he's already got Storm up, etc. The longer he has these kind of units set up, the better the game gets for him, because his Archon count's going to grow, his Immortal count grows, his Storms, or his High Templar, they get more energy, they have more Storms available. All of these are very good things that deal with Lingbane Hydra, which is usually very reliant on the fact that it's a very swarmy composition. It's very much focused, very much so focused on being kind of the composition that can max out fast, rebuild fast, and all of that. So yeah, I mean, none of the strengths here for Berserk Raid have really been put into play at all, and that's why Protoss player just sits back. Because if you see the Warp Prism into the main map, just keep Berserk busy enough, right? It does something. Gets out of there with 4 of the Zealots after you warped it, a few extra than 4 to begin with. As, oh dear, the Warp Prism's super low. Just about surviving there as, okay, it's going to go down. Runs for another set of Hydras. Nice little split up by Leenock to make sure he doesn't let the Warp Prism out. Obviously that's very, very important. You don't want to have that roaming around freely. You can avoid it. The beacon starts up from Trap behind the mineral line. You're going to be seeing +2 attack on the way down on the forge as well. Another Immortal coming up. Spire in the main base too. So Leenock continues to just set himself up here at the moment, as we do see. And he's still got the follow-up, you know, he's got the follow-up, he's got still a decent army, but you struggle to see this army doing a lot, you know, things successfully when there's this many storms set on the map. Let's see in the next couple of moments if we see Zealots coming forward, some Archons too. This one Archon's just going to be left behind a little bit, not going to have any Storm supports, obviously will go down. That Storm Mega to the Rollins, very good in the front. The Storm's kind of missed, the third one he's finally hitting on the last few units that are trailing forwards. Meanwhile, small little Zealot run by, or second run by, sorry, into some Zealots between the natural and the third base. It's a nice idea, but Trap just has the units in position to shut it down. And now we see the Hive Tech out of Leenock, and that has to, you imagine, be for the Great Aspire here eventually. So trying to buy time with this Lingbane Hydra, trying to set up. He's not even maxed out with, you know, despite the money in the bank here, Leenock, so he's definitely saving money for Corruptors or something along those lines. There's no sort of switch into kind of an anti-rebuild army just yet. There is a fleet beacon with no sign of extra Stargates and hence carriers or Tempests. There's just the Mothership coming up, which is obviously going to help with cloaking these units. Do you see an Overseer chase away? A lot of wings going to run forwards here on the right hand side this time. It's a little bit more than those low number of results that we're about to deal with. So a couple of more going to get caught. It's a nice catch, but it does cost him quite a few Zerglings. Lord Bane's actually caught in stasis towards the start of this as well. So I mean, that was nice for Leenock, right? He got a couple of Immortals. He forced another warping of Zealots. And his Bane's going to go off. They put the barriers on a couple of Mortals, but it's not like another fight's going to happen before those barriers are back up. So that's very non-influential, I suppose, in the end. As our Lingbane Hydra just gathers up here on the right hand side. Leenock maybe wanting to push on forwards into towards the fourth base or so. The depth out the front actually gets picked off right away. So he's going to drop the rocks. Bit of an interesting fourth base. It's very easy to hold onto actually, and once the rocks go down, it still is a choke point because of the couple of gateways that were built up here earlier. So this works out quite nicely. Storm coming down, and actually Protozon comes in from the back. Finds himself a nice couple of storms, trapping a lot of this Lingbane Hydra. Couldn't kite away from those storms as it would like to. It ended up running in towards the Protoss army. So that actually worked out pretty nicely, pretty cute. As you do see Trap coming back down to the south and maybe seeing what else he can do. There's the Spire put into play for the Mutalisk though, so you're not actually going to play the Muta switch here. But I'm not going to lie, this is something I didn't see coming, and it is going to work quite well because this is 17 Mutas showing up with absolutely no anti-air ready to go. Both Stargates are going to get unpowered, so there's no anti-air units on the way out. I mean, okay, there's a few Stalkers underneath this mothership, and in fairness, it's doing quite a lot because they can't see these Mutas, can't see those Stalkers. Thanks to the mothership, finally gets that down, jumps into the natural, goes for more probe kills. But still, we're just going to see more Stalkers walking in here. The Archons are going to come back in the War Prism too. This is getting messy for Leenock. I mean, this was 16 meters, now down to 9. It was actually 17 meters, now down to 9. So that's 8 lost. Those are expensive units. Stasis will catch us something somewhere. I'm not sure though where exactly that is. Now we're talking about 8 Mutalisks getting out of there alive. And yes, they did good damage. You know, this was what, in terms of what was killed. I'm not used to not having the usual setup without the usual UI. 23 workers killed throughout the game, and most of that was there. You know, there's 3 or 4 that went down before now, I would say. This is just so manageable now. 8 meters, you know, you get a couple of Phoenix, and boom, you're going to deal with it. The question is, did Leenock slow Trap down enough to maybe justify coming in for the Lingbane Hydra army? Can he attack into the fourth base now? You know, can he make this engagement work? Especially if he still draws a few more units out of position with the Mutalisks for the next few moments. Which is what he's doing. You know, there's a couple of Storms over here still. There's Phoenix over here that aren't going to help much in a major fight. Archons out of position. And let's see actually, because Leenock's coming around the left-hand side, so he's going to strike in towards his fourth base. See what he can do. A couple of Archons dropping on down. The Lingbane Hydra just committing in. The Storms are not here at all at the moment. This base is just going to go down in terms of probes. The Bane's connecting. Here comes the army now. A couple of Storms do come down. The Bane's dealt with here pretty quickly. Hydra's left over. Trap comes out of this with a supply lead, loses the Nexus. And Trap also has no money in the bank, whereas Leenock has quite a little bit. But what does that money matter if Trap can just push right now? If Trap can push before that money is spent here for a minute, before these Lings turn into Banes, before they become useful. Well, what on earth are we, you know, what is Leenock actually meant to do? I'm not too sure. Offensive Immortals. Still in the, coming down towards the bottom left-hand side. So you can see the Zealots, Archons. I mean, that's the issue, right? The Banes are only just now starting moving, and the Protoss player is already on top of the third base. And, I mean, and he said third base is actually straight up like the natural expansion, so he's going to be losing a lot of his important production. But he made a couple of Corruptors, doesn't have the money for Brewboards, not really anymore. He actually does, but I don't think 3 Brewboards are going to be that terrifying as well, because the Corruptors actually coming out and dying right now. Again, it's the momentum from Trap, and not what we're doing in time. So Trap takes the first game of the day. Actually, it's because we were on Korea, and on Korea I have a different set of settings for some reason on this account, or I changed them on the other server for this laptop, and they didn't change on this one. Anyways, we are in game, and we will go into game 2 again. Let's see what happens. We have to the top left hand side our red Zerg player Leenock, and we have to the bottom right hand side the purple Protoss player Trap. Alright, so game 2 of this best of 3. We get this set up on acid plants, all on the maps that actually remained in the map pool after the new maps came out. 5 new maps in the map pool. Obviously we just saw one of them in Lost and Found. We have Dreamcatcher in there, bit of a controversial map, as is Redshift. We've got Darkness Sanctuary, also been a bit controversial because of its 4-player aspect. And the final new map, which I managed to forget all the time, 16-bit. And it's an interesting one as well, but I think one of my favourites so far. Just want to say as well, guys, replay packs, a couple of people exclamation mark replay pack in the chat. So we just released Kung Fu Cup number 5 replay pack yesterday, just as a little bit of a something while I've been away recently. There's not been that many replays going out, of course. So if you guys are interested in the Kung Fu Cup 5 replay pack, that featured games from Dark, Sue, Rogue. There was some non-Zerg players as well. I'm just trying to remember who. And off the top of my head, you know what, I actually can't, but there was some non-zergs in there as well, but it was, this event, so it was pretty stacked. That's available on our Discord server to subs, so do go check it out, and yeah, do go check that out, discord.gg/WardiTV. If you're a subscriber, connect your Twitch account, you get in the sub channel, you get access to that latest replay pack. A replay pack from the end of April is up as well, so there's about 300 to 400 replays of the last couple of weeks in there. And we'll be releasing today's replays as well, which are obviously on the new patch, so you'll be able to get get your hands on all of those too, if you'd like to, as a subscriber. Oh great. Well, early game PvZ is looking very much the same as in game number 2, and we'll just see if there's any differences here to get things started. Obviously, we're in this sort of position where, the Zerg just wants to get link speed up, free hatcheries, get the Queen count going. The Protoss player just wants to get the Stargate up, maybe getting towards an Oracle here right away, maybe in towards a Phoenix. A few different possibilities for each of our players in these early stages. So link speed's on the way up, going to be finishing in the next few moments. We do just see the Phoenix first for our Protoss once again, so no real change up just yet as we get this set up. What's up, A-Move? Thank you so much for the 17-month resub. How you doing? Hello. Thank you so much for the 17 months. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you coming back, as always, month by month. You're having a good day. It's Thursday. It doesn't feel like Thursday to me. It's so early. I'm in NA as well. I hope that forward, because actually Lings get by. A couple of Adepts are here. Still annoying to get the Lings into the main base, right? Because they can run around. The Adepts commit to the shade, and then they're back in the natural. Probes do pull in to continue fighting this here, and you see all of those Lings getting low. One probe does go down, so in the end only one probe kill. I'd be surprised if this became 2. That should be good enough to shut this down without much further issue. I mean, even at this point, if you have to pull probes in, the Lings will die before another probe does, so that is just one probe going down. We now follow this Oracle across the map here over the next couple of moments, just to see what this Oracle can get up to. Heading towards the main base at the moment here, looking to see what's going to happen. Robo Facility and Twilight Council coming up, and again as the Oracle hits the main, well, Spore Claw in position, the Queen's here too, and it just finds one single draw, and good defense by Leenock, exactly what he needs this to be. His lair finishing in a moment or so, pretty standard time in 4 minutes, means he's just going to go straight towards the Hydralisk den here. Obviously keeps him open towards the Hydra upgrades, etc. And, well, I'd love to say that Trap's doing something different, but he really isn't, so second game in a row, we're just going to see the single Phoenix, single Oracle build in towards the 4 gateways, with the Twilight Council, the Temple Archives into the Archons. Nice little cute play here of the Phoenix and the Oracle. Comes in, lifts a Queen, means that it's only the Spore Crawler hitting on the Oracle, and the Phoenix tanks some damage too, so he gets a couple extra worker kills. It's nice, it slows the Zerg player down just a little bit. It's making use of this Oracle, which you don't want to lose, but you want to do as much as you can of it. The more you can, the worse a position a Zerg player is going to be in, right? And keeping it alive, though, is the most important thing, because you do want to use it for revelations later on in the game. I actually saw 5 gates being added on here, so this is going to be 6 gates this time. Maybe I missed it last game and it was 6 gates in the end, but with these 2 gates coming in a little bit later. But, obviously this is a little bit more aggressive. There's the 3rd Nexus coming down behind it. All of these kind of pieces falling into place in the same way as the last game for now. The 2 Archons actually morphing at home, though. War Prism is on the map. The Archon's morphing at home. I'm not actually too sure about that. Obviously we do have 6 gates, so you could just warp in like a bunch of Zealots. It's not a second prison or anything, right? No, just one prism. A little bit of an interesting one then. And these Archons just going to sit next to these couple of Adepts in the Zealot here. And we are going to be seeing Lings and Hydras coming across from Leenock. Going to get ready to come down towards the 3rd base here, see what they can do. A couple of High Templar just going to finish warping in. A couple more Zealots warped, and is this just a read off of Trap that this is going to be aggression out of Leenock? Because right now Leenock is skipping the Baylor nest. He isn't going in towards any sort of like further drones. He's just pumping out units, and he's just going for like this 53 drone Ling Hydra all in. Well, he's just heavily committed to this. So the fact there's 2 Archons not on the map but rather at home is really amazing for Trap. I just wonder what he saw to kind of realize this, because it's not like the War Prism was across the map when he started to make this decision or anything. He just straight up warped the first 2 Archons in at home very interesting. Maybe it's just something he knows about Leenock, or something that Zergs have been doing a lot in this map lately, as the Wing Hydra is actually going to get a amount done here already. To actually really do up just another warping of Zealots here, because right now these Archons are taking a little bit of damage. Going back towards the shield batteries is going to help out a lot. The important thing here is we have seen the Lings go down, so the Hydras are a lot more vulnerable now. You see that one Archon in the front is just getting saved once again. I'm so worried for it, man. It's finally going to go down, but Immortal showing up too. The Archon in the back goes down also, but it tanks a little bit of damage. Nice juggling on the Archons, although finally another one going down here. Travis struggling just a little bit to deal with this. Again, maybe just needs to fight a bit more towards the shield batteries. If you had shield batteries over here, you could fight there too, but that's maybe one of the issues, that he can only really back away to the left side, and so a couple of times now, Leenock is just, instead of kind of fighting on the left, he's just pulled away to the right towards the natural, which kind of forces Trap away from those shield batteries, away from that defensive position, which can go a long way. The Hydra count is decreasing though, and a few more reinforcements are now showing up. It just really feels like Trap is missing that big warping of just like a bunch of Zealots to really push this away. Like this right now, I guess, is a little bit better, but even still, I mean, man, there's just so many Hydras here. Leenock looks as though he's making this work out for himself. And a couple of Zealots just warping in right here. Lurkaden's about to finish up too, and that's what's actually really terrifying. Throughout all of this, we've seen, we've seen Immortals being taken down, and all of a sudden here, we're just going to be seeing the Lurkers just on the way up from Leenock. So he's just going to be getting the Lurkers on the way out, and you're going to be seeing this Observer just going to get taken down as well. I mean, the fact that he saw these Lurkers moving in is absolutely terrifying. I think that's why we're just going to see him commit forwards right now. But the Lurkers are ready, so what does he do about it? Well, he has to pray that he gets as many Immortals up as possible, because those Immortals, one thing that's really going to help. The issue is he just lost the Observer, so he actually just lost his detection. He is making a new Oracle, and I like that, because he doesn't really have the time to build an Observer right away, because he needs to keep these Immortals building. He's going to build an Observer now, because he needs something reliable that he can keep alive in case you just miss the revelation. And there's some Hydras here as well. Those Lurkers have sieged up on the third base, and I think you can just see that these Protoss units just disappear so quickly. I mean, a few Zealots are breaking through now. Is this really going to be a hold from Trap? I mean, the Hydra count's going down. There's one or two Lurkers in the very back here. One of them on super low hit points. As you do see, that Oracle is just backing away. Doesn't have energy for anything else at the moment. Might going back once again. These shield batteries have been drained for energy for what seems like an eternity now. Immortal and Archon being saved by the Prism again. Back towards a new shield battery. There's a cannon in the back here as well, but there's also a Lurker just sat here shredding away at these Zealots. He needs to get rid of this Lurker, and finally he's able to. Oh, nice snipe though. Leenock has just taken down the Observer of Trap once again. If he's losing this Observer once more, there's just kind of no reliable detection on the map at the moment. Well, Leenock is still, I still dealing a lot of damage here, right? I mean, see a few more High Templar coming up. They're going to morph into Archons again. A Queen has to back away here, so we're going to see these couple of High Templar popping out, morphing into another Archon. Sentry just going to be moving forwards a little bit as well. And pushing that Warp Prism away, and we do see the Archon still just pushing on forwards. Well, as two Lurker goes down, Queen gets popped, and well, Trap is feeling really confident at the moment as the Lurker count just isn't quite there. There's only one Lurker up on this high ground. So if there ever was a moment, it was probably this moment for him, but still this isn't quite working out here. We are going to be seeing one of those Archons dropping back down again. Trap has survived. This has been like an endless onslaught of units here from Leenock. And in fairness, it's been kind of like this endless onslaught of units from Trap as well, if you think about it. I mean, he's essentially been just building units for like the last 5 minutes. He hasn't got any of his own upgrades. He hasn't, obviously he got charge off the Twilight, but other than that, he never got +1 or anything along those lines. So that's very, it's been a very interesting game with the Lurkers coming through here. I really feel right now Trap has had a moment or two to build up his numbers, and so while he's finally on 2 or 3 Immortals, 2, 4 or 5 Archons at a time, it's still only 3 Lurkers out of Leenock. It's still only 20 or so Hydras, which is scary, don't get me wrong, but the lack of Lurkers is something that definitely wasn't the case previously. Morning's on the way out, a little bit back and forth here. Single force field, there's only a couple of sentries, so he doesn't have many force fields to put to use. There's Leenock coming in on the right hand side as well, and we do see that Psionic Storm starting to be researched. Trap finally feeling as though he has that opportunity, that moment or two, to build up, invest into Storm, something which doesn't have an effect on the fight straight away. You have to invest into High Templar and wait for them to build up energy, so they're not going to be able to fight immediately here. But once they can start fighting, obviously a lot can really get done. third gate circles currently on the way up, as we do see a Prism into the main base, and this first Queen is already going to be taken down in the next few moments, it seems. And he's going to keep on streaming in it as well. That Queen is running, he's actually going to get away. The War Prism is chased. Wow, that's actually quite a shutdown here for Leenock. Gets all of the Zards, keeps the Queen alive, and he gets rid of the War Prism. And a few drones to go down though, as you can see here throughout the game, 13 to 15. So that's about 10 or so workers that still went down with this attack. So that is nice, it does slow Leenock down. Remember, Leenock's economy has not been amazing all game long, right? He's been stuck at 50 to 60 workers, which, as a Zerg going up to 4 bases, you generally want to be on 70 to 80. So he's definitely been down on the worker count, and that's because he's been so committed to this aggression. Interesting what Leenock's doing right now. He's just sort of sat back with all of these lurkers. He's just sort of sat here. He's just sort of waiting. He's like, you know, well, come fight into me, and if you don't, well, haha. I don't know what his haha moment really is, because it's not like his game is getting any better. It feels as though everything's getting better for the Protoss player, right? I mean, Trap has +1 attack on the way up now, another War Prism coming through, his Archon and Mortal count gets higher and higher, and he feels though, you know, the energy goes up the high tempo. All of these are things which obviously massively benefit the Protoss player. What benefit does the Zerg have from waiting here? Well, he gets more lurkers, yes, and lurkers are difficult to deal with, but it gets to a sort of point where once you have the units to deal with the lurkers, you can deal with any number of lurkers a lot of the time, as we are going to be seeing these lurkers locally again. Position. Trap was a little bit out of location here for a moment or two. Revelation comes down, he's going to come out on in. The Storm seems to kind of open up a couple of these units initially. The lurker shots, you can just see they do a lot of damage, but these units that are being used, the Archons and Mortals are both so tanky, they have so many hit points, they can survive quite a beating, but is it going to be enough? A few more Zards coming in here, going to try and drop them around to kind of mix it up a little bit. The Observer overhead. The issue is these lurkers are just really sitting on their own at the moment, so they aren't able to do enough. If there was some more Zerglings in front of this, then maybe. I mean, there's some Zerglings showing up now, and Oracle even just chasing this away, had some energy left on it, but now out of energy, can't actually pick up the final kill here. And was all the way into the center of the map, and 14 minutes into game, Trappers again found a little bit of trouble dealing with this. Slings and lurkers going to move forward. They're actually going to get surrounded on this army. Okay, that might just be a GG low, because suddenly Trap just loses everything without really being efficient at all. Did target down the lurkers, I guess, which is something, but now these Archons are just going to do the job. Leenock ties it up 1-1 in our first. There we go. See, that's one of the things that I'm going to get wrong a little bit today. I'm only on one screen, so sometimes we make some mistakes. And it's also early. Don't usually have to cast at 7 AM, okay? So, let me just tell you guys in chat, because we are on a 1 minute stream delay. Obviously he didn't really miss much, just Leenock top left, Trap bottom right. I was just saying he made the Stalker initially, which means that he does want to kind of skip the Phoenix initially. He goes into the Phoenix now. He went Oracle first and now into Phoenix, so he's still going in towards it. As we do see a Stalker going to click his way through. He does Chrono Boost that Phoenix too, so he's quite committed to getting the Phoenix out in the next couple of moments. As you do see that Overlord going down. So let's see the Stargate, and that's about it. And as the Phoenix pops out here, there isn't much for it to do. The Oracle comes across again a little bit earlier than before. Doesn't get any kills though, because it hits the third base, and actually all the drones there just morph themselves into Spore Crawlers to sort of save the day. So we are just going to be seeing the Oracle coming back in towards the center, and a few more Zerglings from Leenock going to come around the right hand side and towards the natural expansion. And again, just going to see the Robo Facility and the Twilight Council coming up in the natural expansion too. So just getting this set up and ready to go. As you do see the Phoenix lifting up the Queen there for a moment, the Lair and the Rotron coming down as well. And all of this is, again, very standard, very typical of what we've seen before. And honestly, we could just be looking to see a very similar follow-up to what we've seen previously too. I mean, this is a couple more Zards warping in. There's maybe a small chance of this being something like Resonating Claves, although that's a few extra gates. It's going up to 5 gates in total. Okay, it's a little bit more aggressive, I guess. I guess we saw 7A. We saw 6 gates last time. We're going to see 6 gates this time too, so again, pretty much a similar sort of idea. As we are going to be seeing the Templar Archives on the way up, the Brawl Prism coming through, the Charge is on its way as well. We see from Leenock a very different style though. You know, the Lair is up, but he's actually got a Roach Roaring down. He's actually making a lot of Ling Roach at the moment, so as he starts the Roach speed as well, this really feels as though he might just be trying to kind of clean this up and to immediately go across the map to counterattack or something along those lines. A few Roaches of Leenock coming down to the south here. As you're going to see these gateways finishing, more Zerglings on the way out. Again, Roach speed is currently on the way up here, so Roach speed coming through. And that's going to finish up in a little while. It's not going to be ready just yet. He's about to get supply block to Leenock if he doesn't start some Overlords right now. he's just been fully focused on unit production. Maybe he doesn't want to start overlords because he can just sort of, as he trades units out, just replace them at that point. It's a possibility, something that is somewhat viable actually, as we do see the Archons lifting up into the Prism, and again for now, no third base because he's looking to be defensive here, Trap. Leenock starts to back away, but he's kept himself from 45-ish workers to 50 for quite a while, right? So that's been for an extended period of time, and so, you know, while Trap doesn't have a third base down, it's not like Leenock's just been lining away up with full saturation, so it's kind of okay for him as we do see the Evolution Chamber dropping down from Leenock in the back of the third base. He's going to get upgrades this game as we do see a few roaches here caught in the centre. I mean, unfortunately for these roaches, there's just not really much they can do apart from die to these Archons, because no matter what, the Warp Prism was going to just carry those Archons towards them anyways, so roaches do go down. They try and turn and fight, but it just buys time for the other roaches to get away as we do see the Zerglings of Leenock. Well, they are going to be trying to find some openings, trying to slow down this Nexus from being taken. He did end up killing off this pylon that was low health from before, so that pylon does go down. There's now more roaches on the way up. Queen here going to push this Phoenix back up to the top side. I'm going to see once again Zerglings coming down to the south. They're going to run in, they're going to get surrounded with an Immortal. They don't commit for it. They just back away while the barrier was up apparently for a moment or two. This is an Immortal going down though. I mean, it's a lot of Zerglings though for just an Immortal and a couple of Zealots. I mean, Immortals are expensive, they're important to the army, especially when it's a roach-based army coming out of Leenock, but was it worth that many Zerglings? Because now these Zerglings aren't here to tank for the roaches, so that's always going to be something to keep in mind as well. The Archon's dropping back down, the one Immortal is very far forwards, and it may have to be microed by the Prism here. Does get pulled backwards, one of the Archon's low health as well. Beautiful hold by Trap. I mean, the force fields were just so well placed too to maximize his efforts here, minimize what the Zerg player could do at any single point in time. So that was very nicely done overall. Now with these units gathering together, it looks as though we're just going to be having their Trap. Well, it's a good hold. It's a good hold, and I mentioned this Evo Chamber before, yet we haven't really seen it used. This was committed efforts, committed aggression out of Leenock, right? I mean, 54 drones only still. Starts at +1 now as the Storm starts on the other side, but the issue remains, he still sits on a Ling Roach army, which is nowhere near as good as like Ling Hydra that we see usually from the Zerg player. Like we saw in the last game, those Hydras really kind of bring value later in the game. The Roaches, they definitely die off a lot faster, they're definitely more easily dealt with. Yes, they can become Ravagers, but that's very gas expensive, and it's not always the right decision. Ravagers aren't always this kind of amazing unit either. Well, shield batteries here are going to be putting in some work to start things off. The Guardian Shield helping out as well, as the Roaches and Ravagers are now going to be dealt with by the Immortals and the Archons, because, well, the Lings are already down, so these kind of frontline kind of tanky units have disappeared. Not that Lings are tanky, but they do that kind of job. All force fields coming down, Archon's still in the War Prism as they drop back down just to make sure. I mean, the combination of shield batteries, Immortal shields, and the War Prism micro, all of it is just a bit too much. And Leenock, floating money as well at the moment, is really just going to be ending up losing out here. The Archon's dropping down on top, he loses one of them, but in the end he cleans up all of the Ravagers, which is of course very important, as Lings are going to try and run on by towards, what, the third base? I mean, so what, there's a bunch of Zealots warping in, and these Zealots aren't going to let those Lings do anything at all. In the centre of the map, a lone Stalker is on its way to try and do what it can. Brilliant block on the wall on a natural too. So those Lings can't even make access to the natural and actually get damage done, and they're blocked off because these rocks are taken down as well. Trap is so well set up here, and after that attack, after that cleanup, he is up about 30 supply, +1 attack on his side, pushing across, and well, you can see sort of Leenock's plan. He's like, okay, well, let's maybe try and make a Spire and make Mutas to get back in this. Gonna throw a Baneland Nest down as well, so I can sort of transition too, but he is just too far behind. Trap dealt with all of that way too well. There's a Ling run by now, which needs to wait for a Zealot Warping to be dealt with, so it's going to get a little bit of damage done, but I think across the map is the real story. The Immortals are going to show up now as well, just makes the East. I don't know what I'm going to say. This army looks terrifying, then 4 Immortals show up too. There's absolutely just no way there's anything that can be done there. GG's. Trap does take game 3.